Okay, let's take a look and see what we got. So that noise was the something is wrong. That noise was the pressure relief valve, which is kind of your safety valve, going off. So the switch is not switching off when it reaches the proper pressure. So it's not that I did a hard life, but it just didn't get me looking after. Did a small bit of investigation here. It looks like it was made around 2000. Dare I say it, that could be older than some people watching. But anyway, so it's a direct drive compressor, so there's no belt. It's got a couple of structural cable ties that we need to sort out. It's got some broken clocks. Connections look okay. Down here in all compressors you'll have a water drain. Actually, it's a very good idea to drain it very regularly, and these little ones don't let you do that too easily. So I might replace that with something else. Our wheels, you might be able to see I had to drag it in here, so need to look at the wheels. Might even go for a bit of an upgrade because this is going back in a farm. But yeah, we've got our boxes to put our bits into, so I'm going to release the pressure and start stripping it down. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to do here was to try and drain any water that is in the compressor, because I suspect it's never been opened. So there's a little plug at the bottom. My own preference is to empty the water each time I use a compressor, if at all possible. And you can see here I'm having a little bit of difficulty. And so now I'm anticipating a bit of a waterfall, so got up myself a tray. Stuck its ass out over the lip of the table here, and I'm waiting for the air to escape and the water to come out. And if I start to look a bit confused, it's because neither of those things happened, which we will find out why later. So yeah, look of confusion. What the hell is going on? I don't do frustration well. So I moved on and I started to take off the structural cable ties and look at the electrical connections. Found out that the box was in ribbons. That's why the cable ties were there. So we're taking off the box, screwing away the screws. And probably thinking in my head it would be a good idea at this point to make some notes, because I am the biggest crime I make is I don't take enough notes, and there's confusion at the end, which is great for learning, but make life a bit easier. So there's the circuit. So make a note of it and loosen off the connections and put it all away in my boxes for a bit of analysis afterwards and see what we need to buy, what we need to reassemble. Next, I'm going at the feed pipe, which my camera position isn't great, but there's basically a feed pipe from the outlet of the compressor down into the non-return valve of the tank, which I'll show you later. So loosen that off. This is still full of air, by the way. Still full of air to its maximum capacity. That's why the safety valve went off. But the whole purpose of the non-return valve is that the piece between the pipe between the compressor and the tank has no pressure in it once the compressor's turned off. Otherwise, the pressure would all leak back out. So I'm safe enough here, taking off that pipe. So now I'm really concerned that the pressure is still in the tank. So I start to undo very slowly the outlet regulator there until some air starts leaking out. You probably can't hear it now, but it is leaking away there. Next, I have a go at the cover behind the actual pump itself. That's held on with a few screws, and of course a few of them came out lovely. One of them was a pure bastard. It actually didn't come out, so I just left it and moved on. Decided to have one more go. Yeah, look at the face. Yeah, trying my best to open that screw without ringing the head, but eventually, like I said, I just give up. So I always find if something baits you, just move on to something else. You'll find another way around it, and I did actually. So that's the pipe off. Air is still leaking out, so this tank is still full of pressure. Bit like working on a bomb. And for anyone that knows me, that's something that I like to do. So now I'm going to take the whole motor and pump off by unscrewing the mounting screws. Don't know what I'm looking at there. Took off my glasses. By the way, it's very cold in the shed. It's like the end of February, hence all the clothes. Oh, I know what I was looking for. I was looking for the top of the screw that holds on the that black cover for the pressure switch. Trying to see was it Phillips or flathead. So that's off. And yep, time for some more tools. Okay, we're back again. So we're going to, before we can take the motor and the pump off, we have to take the wires out of the pressure switch. So the whole point of the pressure switch is it takes the feed in from... I've just lost something. Yeah, that happens all the time. It takes the feed from your plug into the pressure switch, and the switch, it's an electrical switch operated by the air pressure, and then it feeds into the pump. So before I can take the motor and pump off, I have to disconnect the two electrical connections there. It's all plugged out. Obviously, big warning there, don't work on anything electrical with the leads in. So there we are. The lead is out. I can now take the whole pump off and set that to one side for again. And now we're again, still a bit of pressure there. So, stand back, safety squints. We're going to let this go. Hands on hips, wondering how long it's going to take for all this air pressure to bleed out. So, take away my supply lead, which we will probably replace. It looks a bit fragile. Air is bleeding away, taking its bleeding time. It's that point at which you go, do I just unscrew it and let it go, or is it going to splatter everything on the shelf in mucky water? So some of them shelves are not mine, they're Sarah's, and if she came out and finds all her stuff covered in mud, well, this video just won't be worth it. Now it's time to take off the pressure switch. Basically just attached via a thing called a nipple to the tank. So it's obviously fairly tight. Probably just trying a few spanners here to see what's going to work for me. Yep, there it is. She's loose now. Obviously all the pressure's gone. You've seen that there. I eventually decided it was time to just let it go. Let it go. Anyway, pressure switch screwing off here now. We're almost there. So now all the air is gone. There's still the question as to why is anything much coming out of the drain at the bottom. So I had a shake. There's still a bit of water inside. So it's really going to warrant a bit more inspection. So I had a look and wrecked the gaff behind me while I was doing that. Sarah, if you're watching, I did put everything back. So I thought about taking off the actual I'm at the wheels here now. Sorry, I'm at the wheels. They were pretty well foobarred. So I think I got one off and a couple off the grinder. So we have one wheel off and the other one is definitely going to be a grinder job. So it's time to look again at the bottom of the tank here and figure out what's going on. So I unscrewed the valve altogether to see what was going on. Yeah, if in doubt, get the adjustable wrench out. I'm going to be replacing this anyway, so I'm not too bothered if it gets wrecked in the process. And it's damn tight. If you're wondering about what kind of torque setting, it's definitely a number 1 on the grunt scale, as in it opens. So eventually it's off. I'm looking in and all I can see is brown. Like, I should be able to look into the bottom of the tank here. So I need to find something to poke that brown and see what the story is. So yeah, a lot of goo in there. So I'm going to turn this tank over now and hopefully that's the answer. It was really just that it was full of crap, rust and grime, and you might be wondering, why do compressors fill with water? So basically we're taking air and we're compressing it and making it hot. So hot water holds a lot of moisture, but when it cools, that moisture has to go somewhere and it ends up in the tank. That's hence why you need to empty it all the time. So there's water coming out there the whole time. I can tell you now, there's a couple of litres in there, and that couple of litres was also affecting pretty much everything else. I'll get to that there now in a bit. So we're pretty much done here. Just time to clean up. Clean up my spanners, put them back in order and put them away. I'm brilliant at that, by the way, in my least sarcastic voice. But you know, you have to clean up at the end of a job and try and put everything back where you found it. That's what they tell me. Okay, so our strip down is complete. Water is still coming out of this thing. So you might have seen me there. I was the water drain was completely full of gunk. I would say the amount of times this thing has been drained of water was probably a big fat 0, which is not good. And I have a funny feeling that's what led to the failure of this switch. There was probably a lot of moisture coming in, so this pipe here picks up the pressure from our non-return valve here, and it's what tells the mechanical switch, hey, I'm at full pressure, turn me off. Don't know what happened here now. Someone had a real hack job at this this cover on top. So that's our starting capacitor, that's our overload. Wheels, yeah, I think if it's square wheels, they might have worked better than those wheels. And then our that's our little pressure regulator and clock again. I'm just going to take, these are probably okay, but I'm just going to take it that this stuff is gone. It's been all affected by water, so if we want this thing to run for another 24 years, about time we got some new bits. They're not that dear. I'm going to make a full list here now, and we'll put it up, and I'm going to show you where I sourced them. And really, this is not a massive job. We are going to give it a paint job, I think. Might as well. We're still dripping. Okay, so see you next time, part 2.